whenever you do something for the first time, there's this tremendous amount of fear. But I define fear as a mile high, a mile long, but paper thin. All you got to do is poke your hole through it, and you're on the other side. I was still as nervous as heck doing the webcast for the first time. But as we got into it, and when we sat down, and I had one of my guest expert speakers on my right, my expectation was the worst that could happen is I don't make a dime, but I get a product out of this, and I get exposure to my audience. In the back of my mind, I was thinking if I can, do $20,000 to $30,000 worth of sales and get a product out of it, I would consider that a home run. Intuitively, that was what I was thinking, although I had my fingers crossed behind my back, wanting to make at least some decent sales. I really had no idea that we would do as well as we did on the MicroLaunch. I really, that blew my mind, really blew me away. Prior to that morning of June 20th, I basically had no customers. I had a list because the JV partners that I JV'd with, I got all the registrations from them. They didn't come from my list because mine was non-existent. And these guys and gals had, a tremendous amount of people on their list. I think one guy had 20,000 people on his list that were my target audience. So what I did was I enlisted the help of these folks who, I sent them 3 or 4 promo emails to send out, and they did. It's important to position the webcast as like an event, like a party. So the name of the webcast, I think, is very important. Like the one we did was Success-a-thon, or you could do a Palooza, or an extravaganza. I think the name has to be like a party, like an IT event. So when these people sent out their emails, I mean, my phone would like ring off, my cell phone would just keep dinging. I mean, it was exciting, and I didn't have to do any work except write the email for them to send out to their database. I think we had like over 1,746 registrations, and I think there were 500 to 700 people who were on average for all 4, throughout the duration of 4 hours. What turned out happening was, of those 500 or 700 people who were on the actual webcast, 385 of them bought. And I wanted to make this point too. In the first segment, in the first hour, nobody bought anything, and that's because I was so nervous at the beginning that I was having a conversation with my pal, but we weren't covering any meat. We were just having like a bullshit session, and it wasn't until the VSL played for the first time, and my wife came out. When the segment ended, the first segment ended like 48 minutes into the first hour. Rosalind came out and said, "You better start like talking about tax resolution," because all I was doing was BSing with Jamie. So we changed it around the second segment, and that's the beauty of a live webcast, because it's all real time, and you can make adjustments on the fly, which is priceless, really. What's really important is that VSL that we did really moved the needle, because once the VSL played at the top of the hour for I think it played 4 times. That's when the sales really took place, was during the VSL or right afterward. And we ended up selling, like I said, 385 new customers on the webcast. So that worked out to about 117,000. And then we sold probably another 15 people with follow-up emails after the webcast during the weekend.